born 83 over the course of their career? Let's see. We should have this done by now.
Honestly, I'm thinking of great 83s in the world. Yo, why aren't there more NBA players who wore 83?
I assume anyone in the NBA wearing a number that's over 45 is there for violence.
What do you mean? Why violence? Why violence
Like,
when you hear 83?
I feel like someone in the NBA wearing 83, like that's probably the goon on the team. Like think of a person like Jay Crowder wears 99. Okay, I can see 99, but like 83 is just so random. It's like, yo, this is your number. You are here to fight people.
Hmm. Okay, so here I'm looking at some Martellus Bennett, Arnez Battle,
Mm-hmm.
Tyler
Wes
Boyd.
Welker wore
There we
83.
go. Dion
Tyler
Brand.
Boyd. I believe
There we go.
didn't
Wes
Andre
Welker.
Reed wear 33?
33 or 83?
83.
He might
I
have
could be
actually.
wrong.
Mark Campbell.
Don't know who that is.
What? Bob Christensen. Come on, dog. You remember the days of Bob Christensen?
Oh
But
yeah, I was
yeah.
just talking about him the other day. We was texting about him the other day.
Yeah, Bob. Tyrone Davis and Tyree Davis. And
Hmm.
Fred Davis.
Tell me what they were there for. Tell me what Tyrone Davis was doing in the league.
95, 96, 97, 97. He was probably laying some wood. Pause.
All
Let's
right.
see. Man, there's a lot of OJ Howard. He wears 83 now. Shout out OJ Howard. Hope you get healthy soon,
Oh
my brother.
wow,
Man, a lot of Johnsons wore 83. Wonder
that's
why that
weird.
is.
That's weird.
I wonder why that is. Danny, tell the people where they can find this great podcast from.
So, as always, this show is brought to you by goingfor2.com. Head over to goingfor2.com for all your daily fantasy needs. The fantasy football playoffs are here. Some leagues, your playoffs start this week. They may have started last week. I think it's a little early. I think they start this week, next week. So head over to goingfor2.com, get in, get that last bit of info you need to take your team across the finish line to win the number one spot. I know I will be using goingfor2.com. Not this week. Well, this week as well, but I know our playoff starts next week in our redraft league, which we will talk about later. But again, head over to
Both leagues start
goingfor2.com.
their playoffs next week, I think.
They do. So in the dynasty league, I've kind of checked out because my team is so mid, and I didn't like. I'm building for the future. Like my team is like too many injuries, too many underperformers. Like
You
I'm
throwing
fighting
in the
for a
towel?
playoff spot. Huh?
You're not you throwing in the towel and trying to trying to secure a better draft pick.
No, I'm not. I'm not tanking. Like I'm not. It's not like I'm benching Josh Allen for Kirk Cousins. I am putting the best roster on the field. But over the
Mm,
past 4 or 5 weeks, that my best is still not good enough. So I am trying to be a smart GM, and I'm starting to think about the future and what that could look like from Ronald Isley's tax returns in
yo,
the dynasty league. Um, D, we have a lot planned tonight. Do you want to let the folks know what we're talking about?
oh man, people, we're gonna start off, of course, talking a little NFL. We'll start off chatting about the NFL and Week 13 and some of our biggest takeaways, and of course, we like to talk about who we think have the most embarrassing loss. We'll get into that. We'll talk about Lamar Jackson's injury, what that may potentially mean for the Baltimore Ravens in the AFC North. We'll talk about the college football playoff. We have our top four. We'll also mention a few notable bowls and get our winners and predictions on that. We'll end our quick hitters off talking a little bit about, Monday Night Football. Baker Mayfield was released. I saw the Titans released their GM. Deion Sanders is now the head coach of Colorado. We'll talk about that. Luke Fickle's the head coach of Wisconsin. Chat a little bit about that. Anthony Davis and the Lakers are playing better. We'll chat a little
Yeah.
NBA. And then we might do a little bit of laughing while we're in the world of NBA of what Chris Paul did last week to repair whatever Kanye decided to wake up and do. And then we'll end it off chatting a little bit about fantasy. The playoffs are here. So Danny, you're ready to go. I'm ready. If you're ready, let's get into it.
Let's get it.
All right. So week 13 in the NFL had a really good slate of games. I don't know if I was necessarily anticipating, but
Mhm.
nonetheless, here we are. So last Thursday we started in New England. The Bills beat up on the Patriots. I don't know why I thought the Patriots would cover at home, but I'm crazy. It's whatever. And the Bills are now the number one seed in the AFC.
Yes.
The Packers, if they're going to beat anyone, they're going to make sure they beat the Chicago Bears. So we saw the Packers beat the Bears. Minnesota wins literally another close game. So if there's any foreshadowing to how you think Minnesota is going to lose in the playoffs, it's the recipe's right there. So they won a close one versus the Jets. The Eagles just beat up on Tennessee in the AJ Brown revenge game. The Broncos, like they just let I don't even like they just completely let one get away literally in the last minute versus the Ravens. The Bengals knock off the Chiefs at home and continue their winning ways versus the Chiefs. That's three in a row. And then, of course, in the NFC East, we had a Cowboys beatdown of the Colts and an NFC mid-off
Mhm.
between Commanders and the Giants. Danny, I gotta ask you, what are your two biggest takeaways from week 13?
This is semi Eagles related. The first one for me was the Jets letting the Vikings beat them because they just refused to run the QB sneak on third and goal and fourth and goal from the one. Mike White's a pretty big dude. Like he's not like it's not like getting Kyler Murray to run the QB sneaks. I understand that, but the Eagles have given y'all the blueprint on short yardage situation. Get your tight end, get your running back or receiver behind the quarterback, and just push them forward. That is not illegal. If it's short yardage, especially with the guy who was the size of Mike White, he just has to fall forward. You score, you win the game. For the life of me, I know we talk about in college the refusal to get under center and run QB sneaks. It has to be out of shotgun, but these are professionals. Run the QB sneak. Don't overthink it. Don't get cute. Mike White could just have fallen forward into the end zone. It's a very, very easy play to do.
I don't know why with fourth and less than one that I don't know if it was Peyton or Eli who was saying it yesterday. It was like, why would you do a play where you have to exchange the ball for 4 yards in the backfield
Doesn't
when
make
all you need
sense.
is less than a yard? So I definitely feel you on that.
That was number one. I was just flabbergasted watching that on Red Zone, and even Scott Hansen was like, "Yo, why don't you just run a QB sneak?" Like the whole world's like, "Hey, man,
You're
he just
right
has
there.
to fall forward." You're right there. The second one for me is you talked about it earlier. The Bengals have beaten the Chiefs 3 times this calendar year. It looks like Joey B. Who would have thought? I mean, I would have thought. Joey B seems to be Patrick Mahomes' kryptonite. Joey B, so yo, I'm blacker than you. Come here, give me these dubs. I'm joking.
Joey B took his shade and said, "You is not one of them. Stop fronting for the persona of these dudes out here."
Yeah,
That's what he was telling them. Nah, nah. It's definitely interesting. You wonder if the Bengals think they may have a recipe for success when it comes with matching up one on one versus the Chiefs because they clearly have a formula in beating them. It's three different
yeah,
times. One time in the game that sends you to the Super Bowl. So it's not like they haven't gotten the Chiefs' best effort. If anything, they have gotten the Chiefs' complete best effort, and they cannot seem to beat them. So you got to wonder. And this is a copycat league. What do the Bengals do well versus the Chiefs that other teams maybe don't do? Because a lot of teams have, I mean, a lot of analysts and a lot of people have been just nutting off the 49ers in that defense. But the last time the Niners and the Chiefs played this year, it wasn't pretty. It
that's
wasn't
true.
pretty. So,
Ooh.
you got anything else? I might get into my takeaways. I think going into my takeaways, one, oh man, again, I want to reiterate the fact that some good, very, very good coordinators are not very, very good head coaches. Um, I think that's what I Josh McDaniels and Brendan Staley down there in the Chargers versus the Raiders game. I was sitting there just watching that, and I was like, "Fam, this is like a coaching mid off." Like I'm not really impressed by any of the coaching jobs here. You guys just have like a lot of superior talent on the field that's just bailing you out. You know, you wonder sometimes how many coaches would really be in hotter water if more of their games weren't put at 1 p.m. Eastern time.
That's a fair question.
Like, I know they're winning games, but Dan Campbell, man, glad he was playing at 1 p.m. a lot of those times because why are all your games close? That like you know what I'm saying? If all your games
Yeah.
are close, it either means like you're stinky or like some of these coaching decisions are just bad.
I will say though, it is fun to watch the Detroit Lions. I had a lot of fun watching that game,
Because you know why? Because for no reason, their games are just going to be close.
and it's a blast. Like
And
that might be
went
the most fun team to watch in the league, low
they
key.
went up like 30 to whatever against the Jags and still had to grind that one out because the Jags was coming back. The Jags and the Lions are two teams, people I would highly suggest you watch just because like they're giving everyone like a great game just simply off the fact that they are just trying to figure it out.
That's it. That's
Like
all it
they are
is.
trying to figure it out, so they have to play hard. Those are like the worst teams to play during the year too. Not the teams that are like playing for like playoff implications, but the teams who have nothing to play for and they still play hard. It's like, hey, yo, dog, y'all got 4 wins in the 13. Like so far in 13 games, y'all got 4 wins. Like, why y'all doing this?
Well,
Another,
the Jags play the Cowboys in 2 weeks. I need you to do Jag things. I need you to beat the Cowboys. Thank you.
are you afraid of the Cowboys?
Fuck no. Excuse my language, but it would be nice to have some more cushion.
You would. I'm surprised you're not asking for more cushion versus the Minnesota Vikings.
Anybody worry about the Vikings?
Okay. See, you have. I don't know if the Eagles have really gotten too deep into y'all's divisional games. You have to. You have. I mean, I know y'all played the Commanders twice.
We played the Commanders twice and the
And the
Cowboys. We
Cowboys.
played the Giants this week. We still have 2 meetings with the Giants and 1 meeting with the Cowboys.
Hey, you. If all goes well, y'all win all those games. But when it comes to divisional games, you have to assume you might have one or two losses just because they see you twice a year.
Yes.
Like it's gonna be some. Well, you know, off of the second game versus the Commanders, you'd be like, yo, that's some BS. This game doesn't. Whatever. You just gotta
Complete
be there.
tomfoolery.
Yeah, like the complete whatever game. Like our game earlier, the Packers game earlier this year against the Lions, and we got down the red zone like 5 or 6 times and was just throwing interceptions and stuff. It was like, all right, well, this is just some bullshit. Like, just chalk this up to being some bullshit. I think my second takeaway from week 13, and before I say that, was good Kyle, was good Bam, was good Gator J. Uh, Bam said that the reason why teams like the Lions and the Jags play so hard, no matter what, is because that's how they keep their fan base. Lose, but keep it close. Constantly giving fans hope. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, pretty much.
Hope is the greatest drug on earth.
Yep. Yes, it is. My second takeaway from week 13. I can't believe I'm saying this, but part of me kind of wanted a top 5 pick for my Green Bay Packers. And I thought about it, and I was like, well, I can't expect the Bears to help us. They haven't beaten us in like 4 or 5 years. They might lose to a team that's not good. And sure enough, guess what they did? Oh man. Listen, we're at week 13 now. It's safe to say that with the amount of stinky football being left to play or being played still, I think we can all safely say that this is just a lot of stinky football left in the NFL. And this is the NFL product currently. Fam, an NFL team started I don't remember his name. Kyle Allen. An NFL team started Kyle
Yes.
Allen this week.
In Houston. But we know what Houston's goal is. Houston is here for CJ Stroud or Bryce Young. Like whoever they're here for a quarterback. We know why Houston's here.
Yeah. Kyle says the Green Bay Packers, and he is correct. The Green Bay Packers are now the all-time NFL leader in wins.
Which is pretty cool. Yes. I remember hearing that on the broadcast. Like, that's a cool stat.
Yes. So the Packers are the all-time leader in NFL wins. It's funny that when you look at the history of the Packers, we've only had a few quarterbacks, but they've just been generational quarterbacks. Now, all of them are only good for one Super Bowl win, and that's okay. Like
that's okay.
That like it is. It is what it is. It's funny because we've been playing better offensively. It's just defensively we are. I don't even think ass is the word. We're putrid. Like
But
what?
Christian Watson,
He's good.
that boy, good.
He good. It's funny. At this point in the season, would you take him as offensive rookie of the year?
I'd have to think about that. Let me think about other
There's no
who.
quarterbacks. No
There's
quarterback.
no
We can
yeah
take
yeah
that out.
yeah.
Yeah,
There's
no
no
quarterbacks. Now
quarterbacks.
you're
Are there
looking at
any
what?
other receivers putting up like numbers?
You can look at maybe a Chris Olave.
Yeah,
Yeah, maybe Kenneth Walker. He's a
yeah.
Walker now. Um, and we're talking just strictly offensive rookies. I mean, Damian Pierce. I don't.
He's kind of
Maybe
falling off.
he's falling off maybe the last 3 weeks or so. I don't know. I think Christian Watson has a chance. He scored in like what 4, 5, 6 straight games.
Yeah, he has like 9 touchdowns in like the past 4 games or 5 games, some
Good.
absurd like that.
He's good. He's fast. He's like naturally fast. It's funny because the whole narrative that the Packers never give Aaron Rodgers any help, and now it's just he's silently racking up these touchdowns, and I think people don't want to highlight it because then you have to highlight the fact that he's a second round pick,
Yeah,
and that's not the narrative they want to push. Yeah, there's a clear narrative that I don't want to get into it, but if y'all heard what LeBron said last week about the whole Jerry Jones thing, you see what's going on. The media, whether it's sports media or regular news coverage media, they be playing these games in our faces, and they're just, and they just letting it know. They listen. Who had the most embarrassing loss of the week, my friend?
Oh, we're on the same page. The Fighting Jeff Saturdays. You were up. You were have a 2-point conversion from tying the game, and you turn around. I went to bed. And I was like, Colts might pull this out. And then I saw the score, and I was like, did I miss something? In that
Man,
fourth quarter, Jeff, you're not getting that job. Like, you're good. Like you do. You're not getting that job, dog. You can't do that and then ask for that head coaching job.
yo, I went and I got a quick quesadilla and margarita from the Mexican spot up the street from my crib, and I think it was like I was still in contention in my fantasy game. I needed the Dallas defense to keep letting the Colts score, but not letting it be Jonathan Taylor or Michael Pittman, because dude had Dallas defense, Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman, and they were essentially balancing each other out to where he wasn't really gaining it in the points that he needed to catch up to me. And so I'm like, all right, well, this game is going to be close contested. I think the Cowboys are going to run away with it. I think I'm going to stop watching it and go get my quesadilla. Dog, I came back, and that game was I lost by 11 points.
Big mistake.
Lost by 11 points.
Which league was this?
It was in a league we're not in together.
Okay.
But yeah, I lost by 11 points, and I was like, what? What? Now the real reason why I lost is because I benched Jalen Waddle. No, I started Jalen Waddle and benched Devontae Smith when I really should have. But look, my other wide receiver was Christian Watson, so I was like, okay, well, I can only start 2 of you.
Oh, you made the right choice. We didn't know Waddle would get hurt in the San Fran game.
How hurt is he?
Well, he came back, but he was questionable. Like he was out and he came back. He caught a pass, and that was it.
Yeah. So luckily in that league, I've already secured a first round bye, which I'll talk about later. But I need some help to help secure a third first round bye, and then these other 2 leagues of mine where I'm not getting a first round bye. I just need to get in, man. I just need to get in.
I'll do my best to help you with that.
I actually had a different most embarrassing loss of the week. So while that Colts game was disgusting and it was nasty, I cannot seem to. This is like when JaVale McGee was donkey of the day, not donkey of the day. It was on Shaqtin' the Fool for weeks at a time. The Denver Broncos, I just cannot escape this feeling, dog. Because every time I watch y'all's game, especially this week when you're going against a Baltimore Ravens team, who you can tell energy-wise they're depleted without Lamar Jackson. Offensively, they are very stymied stymied, they're stagnant in what they can do offensively, and you still find a way to wait until the very last minute of the game to lose. Unbelievable. I think it was what 10-9?
Yes.
Like dog, y'all didn't score an offensive touchdown. All right.
Pray for
Like
your Broncos fam.
fam, if you are a Broncos fan or know a friend who's a Broncos fan, you just gotta remind them that they gave 200 million of them things
Mm,
away to pay for this. So this is what it's got to be for a little bit.
good luck.
And there's a lot of people who invested into the who, like there's a couple of investors in that ownership stake for the Broncos, including my man Sir Lewis Hamilton for my favorite F1 team, the Mercedes. Hey brother, I'll take some of that money. I'll give me 200 million and see what I make it. I'll make it shake. I'll make it
Oh,
shake in the NFL.
I'd blow my knee out week 3, put me on IR. We Gucci.
Bam says, hopefully Greg Roman takes the Stanford job and gets the hell out of Baltimore. So is it Greg Roman, the offensive? Because I know a lot of people like to give Greg Roman, the offensive coordinator, a lot of shit, but
Yeah.
let's just talk about the fact that where the Ravens consistently draft versus the talent that's there is never equal. The Ravens are always drafting 27th, 28th, 29th, 30th, 31, or 32 because they're a good team that most of the time makes the postseason. Can we agree to that?
Yep.
Okay. The Ravens' biggest issue is wide receiver. They don't have a true wide receiver one threat. And because of that, they have to find unique ways to get their talented group of wide receiver twos and threes involved. They're quote unquote wide receiver one and Rashad Bateman, he's hurt. I don't know if he's hurt. I'll say that. He's hurt. So they have to find other ways to get their wide receiver twos and wide receiver threes the ball. I think some would say that there is no true wide receiver one on this team. There is no dynamic wide receiver one that you see on a lot of teams. Now there is Mark Andrews. He could be considered wide receiver one, but it's like Travis Kelsey on the Chiefs.
Yeah, but
I don't
Travis
know if
Kelsey is generational.
yeah, he is. Travis Kelsey is generation, and he's essentially like a very big wide receiver. Um, so I guess I say all that to say, Bam, that I don't know if Greg Roman's the issue, or maybe we need to start thinking about this GM and like how, or we need to make a big trade for a big time wide receiver and prioritize that position. Kyle says, is there even a wide receiver two on the Ravens?
That's a good question.
It's a good question. Demarcus Robinson, Devin Duvernay.
So I would say Devin Duvernay.
I guess Devin Duvernay. Staying on the Ravens, I guess this is a good transition to our next topic. So I guess all of you saw in this game where the Broncos lost 10-9. I guess you guys heard me allude before that there was a big injury that came out of the NFL this week, which was the Baltimore Ravens QB Lamar Jackson. He went down with a knee injury. I think it came out that it is a PCL sprain, so it isn't expected to be season ending. But he's expected to be out a few weeks. I think I saw somewhere that normal recovery is like 1 to 3 weeks for these type of injuries. So, Danny, question for you. How big is this injury for the Ravens and their AFC North title hopes?
Well, I think it's a big blow, obviously, because he's Lamar Jackson. So I went online. So right now, both the Bengals and the Ravens are 8-4 in the division. So the Ravens the rest of the season, how long? He's out for 4 to 5 weeks, right?
I thought I saw 1 to 3, but who knows?
Okay, let's do the next 3 games for each. So the Ravens are at Pittsburgh, at Cleveland, and then the Falcons. The Bengals are home against the Browns, at the Bucks, at the Patriots. Out of those 3, who do you think has the Ravens definitely have the easiest schedule out of the 2, but without Lamar, those games are really, 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 really hard. I think this could be. I think the Ravens will still make the playoffs, but I don't think they're going to be hosting a home game because of Lamar's knee. I think that this is the Bengals' time to strike, win the AFC North, or lock up the AFC North.
I
And
guess I guess my question is well, I guess my thing is like when you start talking about strength of schedule, which I think this a big component in there. I mean, you're talking about the Bengals, who have to go to Cleveland. I think they'll win that game. The Bucks
Mhm.
game might be a little tougher than anticipated. I think the Bucks might get some things rolling. Um, Maybe offensively more so than defensively when talking about the Bucks. The Patriots, I feel like the Patriots can come in and can have a very good defensive game plan for the Patriots and try to keep it a low scoring game and try to keep the ball out of Joe Burrow's hands. I don't know. I don't know.
Do you think there is a game plan for Jamar Chase
And by who?
for the Patriots? Like, does anyone have an answer for it? Because Jamar is back and he seems to be like he was balling out Sunday.
Let me tell you something. Bill's going to say anybody but that. Well, no, because they got T. Higgins.
I
So
say okay.
they going to listen.
Okay.
They're going to play man. I think what they'll probably do is put their best cover corner man to man on T. Higgins and then roll at all other coverage to Jamar's side every time, and then try to dare the Bengals to just run the ball against them.
Good luck. Good luck.
Hey, it's been one of the better defenses in the league. So we'll see. I don't know. I think it's interesting. I think when you think about the state of the AFC North, obviously is going to come down. I think to what you're saying between the Ravens and the Bengals. I think I might be. I think I might be with you. I think this injury is big for the Ravens. Granted they do play. I think you said the Browns in there.
Yeah. So hold on one second.
Browns, the Falcons, and the Steelers.
Yep.
And so I think the Steelers game, obviously because it's a divisional foe, I think they probably have the best defense of the three. So I would think maybe the Steelers might actually end up beating the Ravens. But I think with Tyler Huntley in that quarterback, I think the Falcons game is definitely winnable, and I think the Browns game is very winnable. We'll have to see, if Deshaun Watson, if he continues to look how he did in his first game back, then I definitely think they can beat the Browns. But let's just see how that chemistry starts to roll around. Bam says they need to hire Eric Bieniemy ASAP and let John Harbaugh go.
John. Wow. You want to let Harbaugh go? Why?
And he also says the Ravens will lose the next two, and we will see how bad the team is without Lamar.
No offense, Bam, but I hope I hope they realize now we need to pay Lamar. Like I know people are saying, well, he hurt his knee. Well, now they don't know. Now they may be hesitant to pay him. Well, if you lose 2 out of 3 and you're knocked out of contention, now you see how valuable Lamar is. Get that man his money.
You get him his money ASAP. So Kyle made an interesting. Kyle brought up an interesting point about if we go back to draft day, you'll remember that the Ravens, alongside the Titans, who we talked about earlier, made big decisions to trade away their wide receiver ones on draft day. Obviously, we know the Titans traded AJ Brown to the Eagles, and then the Ravens traded Hollywood Brown to the Cardinals.
Arizona.
Yeah. So Danny, I guess when you look at the state of where the Ravens and the Titans are now, how do you think? Do you think they regret those decisions at this point in their season?
Ravens, no, because I don't think Hollywood Brown is a wide receiver one. It's not like he and Lamar Jackson were lighting the league on, like a Tyreek Hill and Patrick Mahomes. It's not like they were lighting the league on fire. And then the Ravens were like, nah, we're not going to pay you. We're going to trade you away. I do think the Titans, I saw a video resurface today on Twitter of Mike Vrabel when they announced that A.J. Brown had been traded.
He was not happy.
He was not happy. So I think the Titans 100% regret it. I don't think the Ravens do. I think Bam earlier said, or someone in the chat said, that the Ravens just don't prioritize wide receivers. So I don't think they're, because I mean, what has Hollywood Brown done in Arizona?
Well, I mean, he was doing all right, and then he kind of got hurt. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I got to watch the latest episode of Hard Knocks in season because it's like, man, you start looking at the names that's on this Cardinals defense or offense and defense, and now I'm starting to feel bad for them because it's like, yo, y'all shouldn't be performing like this, but y'all also are kind of some ass, but y'all also shouldn't be performing like this. Yeah, it's funny that you bring up that video because I also saw that video earlier today, and the caption I think was under it was how Mike Vrabel had won the power struggle. So you could clearly see that there was a disconnect between Mike Vrabel and I believe his name was like John Robinson or John Robinson.
Yeah, that
You
sounds right.
clearly see there is a power struggle. Um, I think when you and it makes me maybe look at Mike Vrabel a little bit differently now because it's clear that he probably would probably has been trying to push for better overall players to come there and trying to push the GM to pay. I feel like the GM was probably giving him bottom of the barrel, or I shouldn't say bottom of the barrel, or bottom not as good talent, and you can clearly see that they've been making the most of it. And they've been successful. I think I think the game last week, you're playing your former team and you're just seeing like how badly, this roster is put together, what's lacking, and you're like you have to see it because it's playing against your team of like what this team is clearly missing, the true number one receiver. And now you gotta look back on your GM and it's like, yo, you had him.
Yep.
And why didn't you just want to pay him?
Because Tennessee's not a place free agents are going to go, right? I mean, Tennessee, it's nice and they pay, but when you draft a guy, like there's something to be said around the league that a team will take care of their guy. Like that means a lot. He is homegrown. We're going to take care of our own before we go give money to someone else or go draft a replacement. So Mike Vrabel might have won this power struggle, but what was the price? AJ Brown, dog,
Well,
you not gonna be there long enough to see the success rate at this point.
I think the next stud player that they get, hopefully that's Traylon Burks. They really got to make sure they take care of him and really got to,
Yeah,
when the time comes.
because they took care of Derrick Henry.
Yeah,
You ain't have a choice.
you did. You did. You saw what that brother was doing. He was like, "Yo, if we lose this dude, this team is some ass." And we'll see it. We'll see it. All right. Staying in football, but shifting to college football. Danny, it is here. We finally
Yes.
have the top four. We finally have bowls. It is people, the college football playoff and the bowl season. Before we get into this, Kyle, as always, with his lovely research, has a great stat for us. While we talk about the Arizona Cardinals, said since that Thursday night game between the Packers and the Cardinals last year, I think you guys remember that one, or maybe last year or the year before. It's Thursday night game between the Cardinals and the Packers. Cardinals came in like 7-0. That since that game, the Cardinals are 8-15 since Rasul Douglas intercepted Kyler Murray. You hate to see it. You
Tough
hate
scene.
to see it. But back to the college football playoff. So the stage is set, people. The four teams. You have number one Georgia versus number four Ohio State. Then you have number two Michigan versus number three TCU. So Danny, we'll start with the college football playoff before we get into those.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on this Final Four? And give me your thoughts on predictions to who wins the semifinals, our finals matchup, and who you think is going to win it all.
The committee got it right. USC, all you had to do was beat Utah. And even if you had lost like by a point, I think the committee could say USC lost in a championship game and Ohio State never reached the championship game. Therefore, USC gets in. Like, even if you lose, it has to be competitive. One thing you could not do is go out there and get your ass whooped in front of everybody. And that's exactly what happened. Which is sad because I was rooting for USC. I was on the USC train, but back to what we got. I am excited as hell for Georgia Ohio State. That's that for me. That better be the night game. Like Michigan and TCU would be a good game, and I'm even on the verge of saying TCU will win. But I'm starting to jump on TCU train because it would be so cool to have a TCU like content play for a championship. But the game for me is definitely Georgia Ohio State. I hope that's like I think one kicks off at like 3 and the next one at like 7. Like make that the 7 because America needs to see that. In regards to who I think is going to win, I want to say TCU. I really do, but I'm gonna take Michigan and I'm gonna take Georgia. That is my. And then UG, I have Georgia winning it all, but my finals matchup will be. I think Michigan TCU is going to be closer than most people think, and I would not be surprised if TCU won if they turned it into a track meet because Michigan cannot keep up in a track meet and that's going to be their downfall either way. Like whether it's
I
against
was just telling
TCU.
this.
Say what?
So I was just telling like a coworker earlier because he was saying that he thinks it's going to be. He's an Ohio State fan, and he was saying we're going to play Michigan in the national championship game, get our rematch. And I said, wait a minute, hold on. I said, yo, I don't think Michigan is going to beat TCU. And he was like, what do you mean, man? You really think this TCU team is legit? I said, dog, they are literally very fast at a lot of positions. That is very hard to cover, no matter the level. And he was
Yeah.
like,
Like I,
I don't know. And I was like, watch the tape. Just watch the
yeah.
tape.
Like
Just
if
watch the tape.
TCU turns this into a track meet, I don't know if Michigan has the horses to keep up because Michigan likes to play, traditional power run. We're going to take our time. We're going to set up the play action. And TCU is very so. It's just a matter of style, right? Like what style is going to take over. And I think TCU will keep it close. I think Michigan wins. And then Georgia, like everyone's seen Georgia. What are you going to do against Georgia? Even though that's going to be a really good game, and it'd be really cool if we got Ohio State, Michigan for a national championship. The country would go crazy. But for me, I think it's going to be Georgia, Michigan, and Georgia's just too much. Like Georgia has been dominant all year, and
Yeah.
why stop now?
So I think I'm with you. I think well, first off, I think after the conference championship games, I was sitting at my desk and I was like, yo, what if honestly, what if we give Georgia a first round bye and make Michigan and TCU play each other for the other spot in the championship game because Georgia's clearly the best team in the country. I mean, this is it's clear and evident. I don't think anyone deserves to be number 4 because like look at the teams you had to choose from. But whatever. Someone had to get chosen. It was Ohio State. Um, I'll start with Michigan TCU. So Michigan TCU, I echo a lot of the sentiment you were just saying. I think if like TCU is fast at the wide receiver position, at the tight end position, at the running back position, at the quarterback position. Like they are like on defense, they can get after you. Like this is a good football team, and they're fast. And I think like if you watch the Dolphins play, if you watch the 49ers play, if you watch certain NFL teams, you can just tell certain NFL teams just beat you just off of pure speed and making you have to like cover a lot of fast, good football players. And I think TCU is kind of following that same structure, just in a like in a college aspect. I think Jim Harbaugh's he's got to play real sound football, real complimentary football. Yeah. Run the ball a lot and well, and keep your defense on the field as least possible. Like I would, if I was Michigan, I would say the game plan needs to be ensure that TCU touches the ball like as least as possible. I think they're going to score and score fast. Like I know everyone's giving them hell because they lost to Kansas State, but I need a lot of y'all to know that Kansas State team, one, is very physical and a good team. They are a good team. 2, they play complementary football, which is what you need. Is what you need. So I think overall, if I'm being honest with you, I think Michigan leads for 98% of this game, and TCU wins it in the last couple minutes. Because they are a second half team too. So I wouldn't be surprised if Michigan goes up like 28-7 and then lose 42-35. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
that sort of game happening.
For me,
so go ahead.
My bad. Last thing on that for me is I would love to see this game like TCU up by 2 possessions because then Michigan just can't run the ball. Like if TCU was up 14-17 and the Michigan quarterback has to throw the ball, I don't think he's a good thrower of football.
And I think that's their MO, that's their game plan because I think Jim Harbaugh knows he doesn't want his quarterback throwing it a ton of times. Like he wants to establish the run and he wants to eat the clock and put you in a position where you have to throw the ball. And then you let those defensive players and those pass rushers really get after it. Bam says TCU runs the 3-3, which is light work for Michigan. We'll see.
I would stack the box and say, hey, dog, if you can beat me with your arm, I deserve to lose. Because I don't think he's a strong thrower.
Are you talking about if you're TCU?
Yeah, if I'm TCU, all right, I run the 3-3, but we walking some backers up, we blitzing, beat me with your arm, kid.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Although we saw versus Ohio State, they ain't afraid.
Yeah, he did it again. Do it again.
Do it again. All right, so let's get into some other note. Okay, wait. I forgot
to talk about Georgia.
So Georgia, Ohio State. I am not sure at all how this game is going to play out.
Oh,
And I got I brought myself down to two routes this game could go. This could either be a 28-24 sort of game, or this is going to be 52-10.
yeah.
Like
Dog,
I
let
don't
me tell.
see it in between. Like this, I think this might get like if this doesn't get ugly, it's going to be close the entire time. But if this thing gets ugly, I think this thing gets ugly.
Let me tell you this: if Ryan Day goes out and gets his ass kicked by Michigan at home, and then turns around and gets throttled by Georgia, Ryan Day gonna be in Colorado with Deion Sanders.
First of all, that's hilarious. I'm gonna say this: Ryan Day, go out there and coach like you got a set on you. Go out there and say, fuck it, balls to the wall, and let's do this. Don't go out there and coach scared like you did against Michigan. Your players pick up on it and they feed off your energy. I, I'm, I'm going to say Ohio State wins the game.
Okay, here we go.
I'm going to say Ohio State wins the game 33-30.
You know what? Let's look at. Now that you said that, I'm very interested to see the spread on this game to see what Vegas thinks of Ohio State.
Probably 6-point underdogs.
6 points. That's a little closer than I thought it would be. Let's see.
No, I said it probably is. It's my guess.
Where is the spread? Oh, I gotta go through all the. Here we go. College football playoff. The spread right now it's 6.5 points. That's really close.
People, I did not have a look at that either. That was a straight guess off the top of the head.
The TCU is 7.5 point underdogs.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
That is wow. That's a lot of respect for Ohio State. I thought it would at least be 8, like at least a touchdown. Wow.
They're saying that they think that Ohio State can match up with Georgia physically in the trenches, which is
really
the game is won in the trenches. Y'all heard Marcus Spears.
And that is the night game. TCU Michigan is at 4. Ohio State Georgia is at 8 on New Year's Eve. I can't think of a better way to bring in the new year than watching.
I'm supposed to be on the East Coast getting a little litty.
Oh, I'm gonna be drunk, dog. I'm gonna be.
I gotta just make sure wherever I'm at, they got a TV so I can watch the game.
Watch it on your phone. Like I might be somewhere too. It's gonna be on my phone. Might have to.
Other games that we may be sober watching. So we got Kansas versus Arkansas in the Liberty Bowl. I put this on here because I wanted to shout out the University of Kansas.
Yes,
they're in the bowl game. They're back relevant. I lived in the Kansas City area, which is not too far from Lawrence. So shout out to the Jayhawks. There was also some beautiful souls that went to the University of Kansas that I met out there. So shout out to y'all. We got Oregon and USC and Oregon versus UNC in the Holiday Bowl, aka the I disappointed everyone and here I am bowl. Oklahoma versus Florida State in the Cheez-It Bowl. I wanted to give this one out because shout out Florida State, who are slowly making their way back. They're going to get relevant again. Florida State said they got to make something relevant in the ACC again.
You got to make it attractive to Deion.
Like Clemson is licking their chops again. Like, yo, please, someone else in this conference has to consistently be good again. It is not because like the Clemson got hurt because one of Clemson's biggest downfall was that the ACC in general was bad. So they didn't even have room to lose that many games. And even if they did lose a game, it was like that one game was going to hurt them. So yeah, I wanted to shout out Florida State and Oklahoma. I don't know if y'all expect to be in the Cheez-It Bowl this year, but nonetheless, here you are. Hope you're not here for long. Maybe. Texas versus Washington in the Alamo Bowl. I'm not sure. Listen, shout out to Steve Sarkisian's getting the University of Texas back on track. I don't know how much longer it is until y'all make y'all's way over to the SEC, but
this is as good as it's gonna get.
This is as good as it's gonna get. What you think about Tennessee versus Clemson in the Orange Bowl?
I mean, Malik Hooker is hurt. I'm not interested in watching Tennessee without Malik Hooker. Like, if Clemson does not win this game, Dabo, we need to have a conversation.
Yeah. I think Clemson's defensive line should really make a big impact here with
Yeah.
Hendon not playing. Um, Hendon, man, I'm sorry, man. You should be a Heisman finalist. I don't
Oh, I
know why
said
you.
Malik Hooker. That's the wrong name.
Yeah, I tried to correct you, but I knew what you were saying. It's all
I
good.
appreciate it.
Bama versus Kansas State in the Sugar Bowl.
That's the
Uh,
one.
this is the one because this is another one where I'm like, oh, either this is going to be close, or this is going to look a lot like the 2012 national championship game where you're asking and begging Nick Saban to please call off the dogs. Like, we get it. Y'all are Bama. You didn't even have to make it to your conference championship game for us to know you are clearly one of the four best teams. I'm sorry. Like,
Yep. Dog.
listen, that's what I think. Look, I think this is going to be like, I don't even mean a regular ass kicking. I mean, like, I feel like they are going to stuff their foot so deep up inside somebody's ass in New Orleans. Man, listen, I feel like Kansas State fans might be yelling out slurs that they had heard ever in the big of Kansas.
Dog. Like that game. Yeah. Yeah. Like to what Bam is saying, like for like Saban really tried to sway the community to let them in, even though they had was it Bam had 3 losses? Two.
Two losses by like a less than a total of 5 points,
Yeah. They lost to LSU and
all on the very
Tennessee.
last plays of the game, all on the road.
Dog. Saban is Kansas State about to be a sacrificial lamb.
Yeah. What he was trying to say is, look, I got all these damn NFL players on my team. If y'all don't let them play in this college ball playoff, a lot of them are going to declare for the draft.
Or a
So
lot of them go jump in the transfer portal to go talk to Dion. I'm sorry. I keep talking about Dion. We'll talk about Dion later.
that too. A lot of them either going to the draft or getting transfer portal with Dion. Although I would say I would say it's probably like 5% of Alabama players might overall. Like, I feel like for Bama, either you're leaving because you are a good player who wants more tick, so you can get more film out there, or you're a good player who hasn't played at all and you need some tick to get some film out there.
Yeah.
But
Agreed.
I mean, listen, I was sitting. I mean, I thought Nick made some good points. It's just unfortunate, man. He had one less loss.
Yep. If you had made it to the SEC championship game, even if you had lost to Georgia, you'd have
Yeah,
gotten in.
they would have. They would have. Yo, an opening round with Bama and Georgia would have been hilarious.
That's what the streets need.
That would have been hilarious. Utah versus Penn State in the Rose Bowl. I think this has the potential to be really, really good. Looking forward to seeing this game. And then Southern Cal versus Tulane in the Cotton Bowl. I put this on here because I don't know if you guys watched the Tulane
UCF.
UCF game. Tulane, listen, I think Tulane might take it straight to them in Dallas.
Let me tell you.
Because Tulane's a team I feel like everyone's going to be playing. Like, all their best players are going to be playing. Oh, yeah.
Lincoln Riley. If you lose to Tulane, dog.
I saw Gus Malzahn and UCF beat a top 10 Auburn team. I've seen it all when it comes to bowl season.
That's
Them
fair.
players do not be caring. I don't mean they don't. They care, but they don't care. Because if you're not playing for the national championship, now you're just playing a football game to play a football game.
And to get free stuff.
Yeah, and get free stuff. That's it. All right. So outside of the college football playoff, is Bama versus Kansas State the most exciting game on your slate?
It's not the most exciting, but it's going to be the funniest game. Because like you said, Nick Saban, he not calling the dogs off. Nah. Nick Saban gonna drop 50. Nick Saban gonna drop 50 on Kansas State. That little running back they got that look like Darren Sproles, lace your chin trap up because these men in Bama.
Listen, Kansas State. I'm gonna say this. Y'all better hope Will Anderson not playing that game because it is gonna be
it's gonna be nasty. They're gonna do. They're gonna transition to another game. But we're gonna throw in an old Sugar Bowl because this reminds us of Georgia, Hawaii. Like America don't need to see this.
Kyle said that Curtis Rourke won the MAC MVP. Go Canada.
Oh, Kyle. Never
Bam
change.
says that he predicts it will be 56-0 Alabama versus Kansas
Whoa.
State.
I would say 56-21 because Kansas State gets some garbage time TDs. But I wouldn't be shocked if Bama dropped 50.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they protect the goose egg too.
That's true.
Speaking of protecting leads, last night in our Monday night game, the
Mm.
Saints the Saints had a lead, and I believe it was something along the lines of 17-3. 16-3. 16-3. They had a 16-3 lead. The Saints lost that game to the Bucks 16-17. Danny, what are your thoughts?
Thank you, Tom Brady. That Saints pick is now in the top 5. The Saints have a 1% chance of making the playoffs now. For those who don't know, the Eagles own the Saints first round pick. Tom, I appreciate you. Now I need you to lose out so Atlanta could win the AFC South because let me tell you something. I don't care what the record is. I don't want to see Tom Brady in the postseason. I don't care what his record is. I don't care what them stats look like. And you know what? I can speak on behalf of Dallas fans too because they're gonna be the ones to face the AFC. I mean the NFC South winner first if we win the division. Would you rather go to Tampa to play Tom or Atlanta to play Marcus? That's easy, yo. Atlanta, stop being Atlanta. Win a couple games. Get Tom out here, out to paint. Tom has done his good work for the
Have
season.
some shame. Have some shame.
Dog, that's the like everyone talk about. You don't want to see Dallas or San Francisco, dog. I don't want to see Tom Brady.
Have some shame. You afraid of Tom Brady in year 20 with this offense?
He is Tom Brady.
I was watching that game and I was like, Dennis Allen, man, that job is not yours for long. I can tell
Nope.
you that. You are transitional, and I'm gonna tell you when a good opportunity. Dennis Allen, you better hope Sean Payton don't want to end up coming back because he don't like how you run the team.
Nah, he don't want to go back to New Orleans. Sean Payton, who which one of these teams out here has the best draft pick and the most potential? Houston, Indy.
Let me tell you something. I think if Sean Payton went to Houston, that would be absolutely hilarious.
That'd be great.
Because like he'd be right next to Dallas, and
Yep.
so he'd be like a way to stick it right to him. Kyle says he still thinks his prediction of a Chiefs Bucks Super Bowl may come true. Let me tell you something. If we end up with Tom Brady in another Super Bowl and what
Dog.
would be probably his last NFL season, I might lose it.
Dog. I'm telling like that's the kind of win last night that sparks a team for a postseason run. I'm telling you, I do not want to see Tom in the playoffs. And I can speak for Dallas fans. You do not want to go to Tampa in January to see Tom. You want to fly to Atlanta to see Marcus. That no, dog. I don't want to
I
see
think you're
Tom.
missing the point where like you forget that the Falcons are not good. So the part where like you say Atlanta, stop being Atlanta, dog. It's 13 games. Ain't no stop being Atlanta. That's who they are. They is not a good team.
I know, but yeah, see, Atlanta's
And
5-8,
I
and the
need y'all to
Bucks are.
stop saying Drake London is a bust. He's not. I need
He is
y'all.
not a bust,
Look who's throwing him the football. They don't trust Marcus Mariota to throw the football, and that's another story
and
for
that's
another
why
time.
Kyle Pitts is not successful.
And don't be surprised. Yeah, that's true. I was getting ready to say if they take a quarterback, they have a quarterback. I just don't know what they want to do with Desmond Ritter.
Yeah, but you don't want to see Tom. Nobody want to see Tom.
Well, the Packers won't have to worry about it. We won't simp the playoffs. Um, Speaking of quarterbacks that aren't going to make it, Baker Mayfield was released by the Panthers. And he was picked up by the Rams. But do you think this is the end of the Baker Mayfield? Like, is this the end of the line for Baker Mayfield? Do you think, or do you think we're reaching that time?
You're looking at it through the wrong lens. This is the start of Baker Mayfield, the backup quarterback.
Mm,
His days as a starter have been done. We need to focus on Baker, the backup.
the backup Baker.
And you can make a lot of funny progressive if he had a sense of humor and could laugh at himself, which he cannot, from what it seems. He can make a whole lot of money with them progressive ads as backup Baker. That would be hilarious.
He
Baker,
could.
think about your
I mean,
future.
like, listen, I think me and you have said it many times on this pod. Being a backup quarterback in the NFL, it's got to be an American dream, dog.
Yep.
You only come in if shit hits the fan, and if shit is hitting the fan, and you got to come in,
Who cares?
oh, you already this team already in trouble. We is already going down. Oh man, listen, Baker. If I was you, really dig deep and ask yourself, what's wrong with being a backup? Now, if you prove well, Baker, you could be Matthew Stafford's backup in his last couple of years. He don't have many years left. And then by that time, the Rams might have a first round pick and they might take their franchise quarterback who you can then also back up.
Dog. Chase Daniel has given us the book. Chase Daniel has given you the Bible on how to be a good backup in the NFL. Chase
And there's nothing
Daniel
wrong.
in LA right now on the Chargers, doing his thing, doing some post game stuff for NFL. Like, Chase Daniel gave y'all the book.
Gave us the book. Gave us the book. Speaking of guys that are coming and going and giving new blessings, Deion Sanders is now the head coach of the University of Colorado in Boulder.
Yes.
What were your thoughts when you heard about the hire?
And if I start rambling, people in chat, D, tell me shut up. Dion isn't doing anything that other college football coaches don't do. Dion's biggest mistake was coming in at Jackson State like he was going to be the savior of HBCU football. I think the quote is, I'm paraphrasing that, God sent me here to, like to help me uplift HBCUs, which he did. But, and I think Bomani said this today and it was perfect. Like, as a college coach, you have to sell youth on a 10-year plan, but your plan is year to year. And that's just the job. So, like, I know people are calling Dion a sellout. I don't think he's a sellout. He's not doing anything that any other college coach doesn't do. If you're at your job and you're making 60,000 and someone comes up to you and say, "Hey, come work for me. I'll give you 250,000," what you gonna say to them?
I'm going to say, where do we sign and how fast can we get to the business?
Yep. I think the thing for Dion for me that's going to be very interesting is recruiting, and I think he can do it. I had this conversation with my friends the other day, and they pointed some good stuff out to me. But for me, it's like you can walk into a young black man's home and say, "Come to an HBCU, let's build something special." Like, that is a very noble cause and a very easy cause for them to get behind. Now at Colorado, that is gone. So you're in there talking to a student, and Lincoln Riley is across the street talking in the car, waiting for you to leave, and he can say, "I got some NILs for you. It's Southern California. What are you going to do? You going to play in Boulder?" Or if I'm a student athlete, I would, if I want to play in a cold weather city, well, hell, I can go play in Utah and at least get to the Rose Bowl. And then when the college football expands, I could jump into the college football playoff and contend for a national championship. So I'm not saying Dion can't recruit at Colorado. It's just going to be very interesting to see how he recruits now that that chip or that quiver is out of his. He doesn't have that quiver, that arrow in his quiver now of,
Mm-hmm.
hey, come to a HBCU, do something for your people, get other people, uplift other black people and get them on TV, and maybe they get a chance to play on Sunday. That's my only, but I think Dion can do it.
Yeah. Man, those are great points. So when I first heard about the hire, I think the first thing I said, similarly to you, was, obviously you understand why he takes the job. Clearly,
Yeah.
financially, they set him up for success. I think I also thought back to the line about, God sent me to, help save HBCU football, and if I think about it, I think what happened was, or maybe what happened with Dion was he came in and he garnered success. I think Bambi, we talked about it. He brought Jackson State a ton of new deals, which also is obviously also going to help set them up for success. But I think he started thinking about, all these incredible and very talented football players we have here at, Jackson State aren't getting the same professional looks
Mhm.
that some of these, to be honest, average players at these Power Five schools are getting looks. I mean, he's having to watch. I mean, he's having to watch like the Mitch Trubisky's in the NFL, and he's saying, "Yo, we produce players in the HBCUs that produce at this rate or even better. We just don't have the coverage, we don't have the facilities, and he probably was like they don't have like financially they don't get the same. So I think he thought about it as what if instead of trying to revitalize HBCUs, what if I try to find a new way to really help these black men and women and go to this Power Five franchise and really change the culture
Yeah.
from the inside out, give it some more of that flair, that funk, that spunk, and have this be a real springboard to get more of our players of our kind into the NFL. It's I think a lot of people say, "Hey, I understand why he took the job. I just thought maybe he would have stayed around a little bit longer." Dog, 3 years at any college program at this day of age, the way they get fired and the way they get hired,
Yeah.
a little bit longer than you think. I mean, everyone wants the Nick Saban that'll be there for X amount of years. Yo, I want y'all to check how many times they have upped this man's salary.
Yep.
They're ensuring that, yo, you don't need to leave.
We got you.
We got you. Same with
Uh,
Dabo. That's why he keeps getting extensions.
Yep.
Same with same
Kirby
reason
Smart.
Kirby Smart. Same reason why Texas A&M gave Jimbo that crazy contract. I mean,
I will.
when your football program's good, it helps so many different revenues of your university in general
Yep.
that you got to make that investment.
I'll add another point to that, and a little context to understand why there are a lot of black people, especially HBCU attendants, that are upset at Dion. Dion's wanted to be a college coach for a couple of years, and no Power Five school would give him a legit look. Jackson State was the school that
Hmm.
gave Dion his opportunity. And I did not go to HBCU, but from what I'm reading and what I'm hearing from people that did go, it's HBCUs are always a stepping stone and it's never the prize. And that's kind of where the anger is generating from. And I understand that. Grant, I didn't go to HBCU, so I can't speak on that. But I think that's where a lot of the hostility is coming from. It's like no one in the Power Five would give you a legitimate shot at being a head coach. Jackson State gave you the platform to jump to Colorado. And that's kind of like, especially with the God sit me here kind of talk, like, well, which one is it, right? Like, were you going to use it as a stepping stone this entire time, or has God told you to go to Colorado?
Well, I mean, what if they? I think, yeah, I definitely understand that one. I think also to that point, I think a lot of them were just like, you left Jackson State for Colorado, like that's where.
Yeah, like the fit is kind of weird. But one of my buddies said to me, it's like he didn't have the pick of the litter, right? Because I said if I were him, I would have gone for the Cincinnati job. And then one of my friends said, "Well, who would say Cincinnati would hire him?" And I
Yeah,
was like, "I never thought of that."
because you got to think about it. They were probably thinking of, hey, we've had a pretty good team with Luke Fickle, like with Luke
Mhm.
Fickle's system and his whatever in here. All we probably need is to try to keep as much of our original staff here, maybe try to promote from within
Yeah,
before we start. I mean, yeah, I like that. And then on top of that, it's like you want to start thinking about where you can go and what conference you can go to where you can have success. The SEC, yo, there's way like
yeah, nope,
it's like you can't beat out Bama, you can't beat out Georgia. Those are the two best teams. Now you got to think about recruiting wise. You're not gonna. It's hard to beat out LSU and Florida for some whatever reason always gets really good recruits because of the University of Florida. So
yep,
now you're kind of battling for recruits with like the Arkansas of the world, who they be getting good recruits. Like the SEC, there's a lot of good recruits that get pumped to the SEC. So now you think about okay, maybe the Big Ten. Well, how do you beat out Ohio State and Michigan? Those are the two premier programs.
yeah.
UCLA and Southern Cal are going to be here for a couple years, and now it's like, all right, the Big 12. It's like, well,
Well, Cincinnati's going to the Big 12, but again, like, who's to say he wasn't running for that job? So,
and on top of that, it's like, okay, in the Big 12, if we we had Cincinnati, I believe what UCF was the other one or something like
yeah,
that.
UCF is the other one going in.
Yeah, yeah, and I was like, okay, well, think about the landscape of the Big 12. Like, which one of those states would he have had a ton of pull in the recruiting.
That's
UCF maybe, but Florida State and UF take a lot of recruits,
yeah. And a
and
lot
they
of Florida recruits go to other
I
SEC schools.
yeah, you know, A&M, no, not A&M. I mean Texas Tech, no. TCU, we clearly see no. Texas got their guy. I mean, it's hard. You start thinking about it, it's like, all right, that's where he probably ends up landing in the Pac-12, where they're still trying to keep some ship together. And I want a lot of people to think about this too from a Pac-12 perspective. I imagine that the Pac-12's commissioner and whatnot, when he saw this hire, got eager, was rubbing his hands like Birdman because he's like, "Oh, we got Deion Sanders in this conference now? Or are you serious?"
So, and here's a point that I'll bring up to this. What happens when Dion start getting too black? Right? Because at Jackson State, he could be his flair is welcomed because we as a culture understand the showmanship and the flair of Dion. What happens when Dion start getting a little like it's cool to be black now because you gonna get these recruits. But what happens when Dion start getting a little like when I was watching the SWAC championship game, there was a gentleman on the sidelines wearing a hoodie that just said at Coach Prime, like nothing regarding Jackson State. Like it was just about Dion. Dion has a deal with Barstool he did at Jackson State where they were able to go behind the scenes and like get content and film, like get some stuff that most universities don't want out there. Like what happens when Dion just get a little too black or it's a little too uncomfortable in this room in Colorado is only won 5 games. Now again, 5 games for Colorado, that's the national championship. But what if like he's not and this is something again that not a lot of, I don't know what are you making about race, but that's just like what happens when Don start being Dion and it turns into Jim Harbaugh in San Francisco and people like a dog calm down or get out.
If he's winning, it won't matter. If he's losing,
See
he
ya.
gonna make it known. He gonna make it known that this is how it's got to be. They don't like it, get rid of him.
But to the recruiting thing, I don't know. Like the Colorado's not known for football, right? The Pac-12, a lot of your recruits are coming from California, Hawaii, and they're going to USC, UCLA, and Oregon
And Utah now.
and Utah.
I think if you're Dion though, you gotta air a lot on your name, holding a lot of weight, and you gotta bring a lot of people with you through the transfer portal. People who are
Yeah,
looking.
that's the only way because like Dion's name is popular, right? But he is popular to us and people who are older. Like he's going into an 18-year-old. It's like, yo, I'm Deion Sanders. I'm the best corner ever. Well, that's cool. But Lincoln Riley just said he can give me $120,000 NIL deal. He got my mom a house in Southern California.
They ain't no scrubs out there in Colorado, so I feel like
I'm not saying, but I'm saying like he's going to have to bring more to the table than I'm Deion Sanders. Come to this HBCU and build something special. Because like sure, like mom and dad know who Deion is, but my son don't care about that.
mm-hmm. Bam said in the chat that when Dion, he thinks that when Dion gets maybe a smidge too black, he will get the Charlie Strong treatment.
Yes, he will.
Maybe that's why he never went and became someone's assistant or coordinator because he
Yeah,
wanted to have his own head coaching brand. So
like
Dion, wishing you luck out here, brother, and we'll see how it happens next
yeah,
year in the Pac-12.
but I think he
Uh,
can do it.
I think he can too. What do you think of Wisconsin hiring Luke Fickle, as we mentioned a little bit earlier?
That fits.
That fits. How soon do you think Luke Fickle maybe turns around? Wisconsin has them back at the Big Ten championship game.
He has 2.5 years. Three
Okay.
years. He has 3 years.
Okay. We'll see. I think 3 years is a little bit short. I think give them 3.5. It's the
Okay.
big. It's the Big Ten. They're in the Big Ten West, which is kind of the bad division in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
So as
All you
long as
got is Illinois, like what? Purdue.
Mhm. I'm curious to see if they put USC and UCLA on one side of the Big Ten or if they put one in the other.
They got to put one and the other to keep it even, right?
Or you can move one or you can move two.
What they need to do is put Michigan or Ohio State and the other ones so they meet for the Big Ten championship, but that's not going to be every year, and they have to play every year, so that's not going to happen. So I don't know who you move over. What who in that division was like, yo, we'll move over. We got it. Yeah. Don't even worry about it. We'll jump to the other side.
Rutgers, Maryland. Yo, if I'm Rutgers and Maryland, dog, I'm just like, get me the fuck out of this division.
Especially if I'm Maryland. Maryland's actually somewhat decent. Rutgers is just garbage. Like if I'm Maryland, it's like, yo, we can go over here, and all I got to worry about is Luke Fickle and some offensive linemen in Nebraska and Wisconsin. Oh, we good. I'm over here.
Mm-hmm. We'll see. Switching gears a little bit to the NBA.
Let's go.
I don't know if you've been noticing, the Lakers have been playing a lot better and sound basketball, rooted in defense, and playing off of Anthony Davis, who looks like he's putting up some MVP numbers. His sad part is he's on a team that's below 500, but they're like 8-2, 7-3 in their last 10 games. The Lakers are. They don't look bad. And if we've noticed anything from the play-in tournament and these last couple of years, that some teams have a bad first half of the season, then they start getting hot, and they have a very good second half of the season. That sets them up real nice for the playoffs. Danny, what are you taking away? Was the world a little bit too premature on the Los Angeles Lakers?
No, the Lakers were terrible. Like that. Shout out to Darvin Ham for figuring a little bit of this out and starting to get this team settled in. Oh no, but they look like donkey shit at the beginning of the year. So I'm not. I don't think we were like going like, oh, a little overboard on Lakers. I am excited to see this Lakers team. The league is better when the Lakers are contending or at least somewhat a threat to somebody else or to the Warriors. I'm glad Anthony Davis is back healthy. He's caught a lot of crap over the past 2 years. I think, Barkley nicknamed him Street Clothes, Mr. Glass, and stuff like that. It's glad that he's healthy. Same thing with Zion, right? Like Zion is finally healthy. It's great to see them playing up to their potential. I think if you're a Lakers fan, it's like, yes, this is the guy LeBron can pass the torch to, and he can keep this train rolling. If I'm Genie and Anthony Davis is playing this, I am more comfortable trading those 2 first-round picks and going all in for the next 2 or 3 years while LeBron calls it a career. If Anthony Davis is playing like this consistently, I am more. Who cares about 2023 and 2025? I can win rings this year and next year, and that's what it's about.
I think if I'm Genie, like I like where you're going with. If I'm Genie, I'm looking at how Anthony Davis is playing. I'm thinking of how to improve this roster now. I think if I'm Genie, I'm really looking at this roster and saying, hey, really, how can we get one more good shooter, like one good shooter? Because I feel like with Austin Reeves starting to come on, we know we have LeBron and his 3-point abilities. With the way this team likes to play from the inside out, if we get one good shooter who can play some good defense, I think that'd be a big help. But we have to continue. I think we really got to continue leaning in on the defensive identity of the team. I know Russ has been playing well with the second unit. We're starting to get a little bit of chemistry going, but it has to go through 80. And as long as this guy stays healthy, plays how he is, I mean, they're playing right now over my right-hand shoulder. I'm hoping to see that. I'm hoping, that they're winning, but they're playing like they're playing like a good basketball team. There are some things that still needs to be fixed. Shooting wise, they still got to get better, but they're playing like a team. Like I'm starting to see the vision. I'm starting to see how maybe this team can be really dangerous.
I call Indiana and see if that Miles Turner Buddy Hield deal is still on table, because that's the deal. That's the deal that makes them champions.
At this point, do you think they would want to trade Westbrook for it?
Hell yeah. To get Buddy Hield and Miles Turner, yeah.
I really like Westbrook running the second unit.
I mean, yeah, but now he's finally got value. We've been talking about his value for the past 18 months and how it's tanked. Now he has a little
now
bit
that he
of value.
has some value, I think you should look at it and be like, he runs the second unit well, and we've always.
Rick Carlisle, do you want Russ for 2 first-round picks for Miles Turner and Buddy? Russ is on a plane. Have a night. That's an E deal. Hell yeah.
I think when you think about some of the weaknesses of the Lakers, when LeBron James and or Anthony Davis is on the bench, like it is nasty time out there.
I mean, but Buddy Hield and Miles Turner can solve a lot of that.
Who's going to run the floor with him? Dennis Schroeder?
You figure it out.
That's the problem. Now you have another issue to figure out.
Hey man, we've been talking about Russ has no value for the past 18 months. Now he has a little bit of value. Now's the time to cash in.
Guess we'll see. We'll see. Last NBA note. What do you think Chris Paul was doing last week when he saw that Kanye West had told everyone that supposedly Kanye had slept with his wife? Well, look at this. Look at
Who in here
this. So
spamming?
look
Boo!
for
Don't worry,
those who are watching or listening online, I should say. We just had some spam chat who said beautiful girls are here with a heart, beautiful girls are here with a green check mark, and then they wanted to make sure we really know by saying beautiful girls here, no emoji.
is this Chris
Um,
Paul? Chris Paul's issue?
yeah, if this is what Chris Paul's issue is, then well, first and foremost, Kanye, stop snitching, stop
Yeah.
snitching. What is you doing?
What are you
Second off,
doing?
if you're Chris Paul, Danny, how do you respond to your wife when Kanye West makes like do you apologize off rip or do you
Nope.
immediately go to this MFA is crazy? I don't even know what he talking about.
I
I
say,
don't even know who Kim is.
Kim, I'd be like, dear, what you gonna do? Believe a dude who was just on Alex Jones praising Hitler? Is that what we doing? That is my retort. Well, you gonna believe a Nazi?
You gotta be like, hey man, he was on Alex Jones, and Alex Jones couldn't. Well, he was left speechless. So you
Oh,
sure you
you
want to
know,
believe that one? Now
you
Alex
know,
Jones was like, yo, if Alex Jones gotta like try to get you to bring some stuff back, and you still double down, listen.
you know how much of a scumbag you got to be to make Alex Jones uncomfortable. That man went to a court of law and said, "Yo, that Sandy Hook joint was fake." Like, you know how much of a piece of shit you got to be to make
And
Alex
to have him
Jones
startled,
uncomfortable.
he didn't know what to say. Whoa, wait,
What?
whoa.
Who? You said Hitler, dog? Nah. Yeah,
Oh
but that would
man.
be my retort, dear. You gonna believe a dude who was just praising Hitler 6 hours ago? Word?
Oh man,
Nah.
I bet you someone said that Kanye gonna make CP3 lose the only ring he's ever had, and y'all have to relax. Y'all have to relax, yo.
No, you don't. That's hilarious.
Y'all have to relax because they almost won that series against the Bucks. They almost won that series against the Bucks, and they should have beat the Warriors in 2019 or
Oh my
2018.
god, that's
Oh,
funny.
Kanye, man, go to bed. These instances keep coming up when Kanye is so close to going to bed and decides not to. Kanye, go
Yeah,
to
just
bed.
go to sleep. Just go.
Go
Yo,
to
put on
sleep.
some Maverick City music. Put on some Jesus is King, and like
Come on,
just go to bed, my man.
come on, man. Bam said the only time you can be like, "Don't believe him, baby. He crazy," and it actually works. Yes, this is one of those instances. Kyle said Kanye is beyond saying so you can definitely deny it with credibility.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
But Chris, call me if you need a witness. Call me if you need a witness. All
Yeah,
right,
it's going.
Danny,
Yep.
are you ready to talk a little fantasy football?
Let's do it.
All righty, people. It is our fantasy recap time. Danny, where do you want to start with our redraft league? I think we should. I mean, our dynasty league since we got
Hey, let's
everyone.
do Dynasty.
Got our dynasty league. So Danny, this week was week 13 in our dynasty league. Reminder, people, this is a 10-team dynasty
Hmm.
league. The playoffs starting week 15.
Yes, not
Danny,
this week, but next week.
yeah, not this week, but next week. Uh, Danny, I can tell you right now, just looking at the overall landscape of the league, I'm sitting at 9-4. I lost this week to a two win team, but I'm gonna be honest with you, Kyle's team just straight kicked my ass, so I can't really say much. So congratulations to Kyle, who now has 3 wins. Ah, look at that. He beat me to it. So Kyle in the chat says, D, how does it feel to lose to the worst team in the league? Yeah,
Not good, Bob.
not 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 good, but congratulations, Kyle. I mean, that's all I can really say. That's a good win. I mean, I would. Is it really? Should I mention that my quarterback got hurt early, or should I just accept the L? It's okay.
Just take the L.
It's okay. Like it's the best thing that happened was not only did I lost, I won by losing because Gator J also lost. So because Gator J lost, I wrapped up my division and ended up winning the division.
See, it all works out.
So that is two first round buys I have. So I told you I'm in 5 leagues, uh, and I already had one first round buy with in this other league. I'm 10-3 and now in our dynasty league I'm 9-4 with another first round buy locked in, and then my most expensive league I'm 9-4, and I'm essentially tied with two other people at 9-4, but I have the least amount of points scored of the three of us, so I'm currently third.
Okay.
But I've split the season series with both of the two teams ahead of me. So all I really need is for both of them to lose, and if I win, I'm I'm the number 2 seed and get that first round bye.
Which is
Now,
what we're here for.
say what?
Which is what we're here for.
That's what I need. If I can get 3 first round buys in 5 leagues, I'll be sitting pretty. I will be sitting pretty. Danny, as I continue to look at our dynasty league, I'm 9-4. Gator J is 7-6. Bam, who I also see in here, he's sitting there at 4-9. And Bam, I think your loss this week might have actually taken you out of playoff contention, like officially, which means Danny, I think you're going to have a top 4 draft pick for sure.
Yes,
We
I
got
will.
one top 4 draft pick for sure, because I don't think Bam's going to be able to make it in, which is interesting. Bam. Kyle is now 3-10. So Kyle, I mean, you're getting yourself a better seeding for the consolation tournament, which could be all you need to help get that number 1 seed. Danny,
Gutter. I'm in the gutter.
you're
I've
saying
lost.
that, but there's so in your division, Danny, you have 2 9-4 teams who play this week for the division title. Like whoever wins that division, I mean whoever wins that matchup gets the division title and the number 1 overall seed. So it's cool stuff. Cool stuff.
We'll see. Like,
And Danny, the three teams, they're like you, Capone 21, and my guy Dylan Friedman, y'all are all 6-7. And I'm gonna tell you, D Friedman, my man Dylan's on a roll right now. He was dead in
yeah,
the water at 4-7, won 2 in a row, and now he's right back in the thick of the playoff race. So
yep.
I'm curious to see who gets the last spot. And next week or in 2 weeks, we're gonna kick off the playoff tournament and the consolation tournament. And I am excited. Um, I'm excited to see who ends up getting the number 1 overall pick and who ends up being our inaugural champion in this dynasty league.
There's a universe where I can have 2 top 4 picks.
Yes, there is. There is.
So
There is.
we are moving forward.
All right, Danny. So our redraft league.
Yes, sir.
We're gonna get up out of here. Our redraft league. I just want to start by saying, people, if you've been listening to this podcast for the last month and a half, you've probably been hearing about how in this redraft league I've been on a losing streak, but it has been by some of the most unluckiest draws ever.
Yes.
Finally, it ends.
It
This
ends.
losing streak ends at 6. And not only did it end at 6 people, but I actually still have a legitimate chance at making the playoffs. Like in this league, it literally comes down to the last week. I need 3 teams to lose, and I have to win my matchup, and I think I get the 6th seed. Is that not
Crazy.
wild? I went on I legit went on a 6 game losing streak and still might have a chance to get in. And I'm gonna say this again. If I make the playoffs, I am going to be a tough out. That is all I'm gonna say. I've been paying attention to a lot of teams. My team over the last 2 weeks in this particular league has been cooking. It has been cooking. It just needs to make the tournament. Now, if I don't, it's all good. I lost 6 in a row. But how a man can go from 4-2 to 5-8 is unbelievable.
The gutter.
Unbelievable.
The gutter. But you're back. You back.
I got 39% chance of making. Is that not wild? Last week I was at like 15. Now I'm at 39.
Wild. I didn't think it was going to happen, but I'll do because you need the person I'm playing against to lose. I'll do my best.
Man, I need Eric to lose, Greg, and Jordan. The funny thing is, I've split the season series with I split the season series with Eric. I've already beaten Greg. So if Greg loses and I win, I for sure pass him because I already have the head-to-head record. I have more points scored than Eric and Jordan. So if all of them win, I'm telling you, I'm just gonna because my team's not bad. I was just catching some hell. It's all good. And a couple of them play some tough matchups. Now, most important thing is I gotta win.
Yes.
I have to win.
Listen, man. On my end, I clinched the division this weekend. I'm sitting at 10-3. I am racing the other 10-3. He has the head-to-head against me, so I need to have a better record than him.
No.
Don't know if that's one.
No. You beat him already.
So I have the head. So he needs to win. Because
that's why you've been the number one seed since you guys played.
So if we both win, I have the number one overall seed.
Yeah, it would be nothing's changed. That's why you're the number one seed now, because when y'all played, you won. Then he lost another game, and then you end up being tied. And because you had the head-to-head, that's why you're the number one seed now.
Beautiful.
If you lose, he's the number one seed, because if you lose and he wins, he's number one seed. If y'all both lose, you're the number one seed. He has to finish with a better record than you. If that makes sense.
And I need to score 68 more points than him to be the points leader as well, because it's 40 to lock the division up, right? That's the division winner gets 40.
No. Division winner gets 25. Highest scoring team gets 50.
Okay, so I need Jalen Hurts to have another Jalen Hurts game, and I need Derrick Henry to be Derrick Henry. Like I won this week, but it's only by like 7.
Yeah, it's that time. It's that time. It's definitely do or die time. If you're out here and you're in the last week and still in playoff contention, you need to give yourself a pat on the back for at least giving yourself a chance to make the playoffs. And that, when you drafted your team, was all you wanted, was a chance to make the playoffs.
That's it.
So look at your lineups, look at your matchups for your players, and put the best lineups out here. And good luck to everyone out here who is fighting for that last playoff spot. If you've already locked up your playoff spot, if you already locked up your first round bye, congratulations to you. But a lot of us in a couple leagues, this is it. Put the best up out there. And maybe don't start them if they play on Thursday night unless they are an absolute fucking gamer. Like Devontae Adams, you start them on Thursday night.
I'm actually in a bit of a kerfuffle.
Oh, because you have Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, I have Josh Jacobs. I might. We got to get out of here. Yeah, I got Josh Jacobs, and I've been sitting Garrett Wilson, and Garrett Wilson's been balling. I feel like Garrett Wilson needs to get into this lineup in some form or fashion. So it's either bench Deebo Samuel or it's going to be benching Josh Jacobs to get him in the lineup because Garrett Wilson's been going off.
Well, we chatting. I'm curious to see what you do, man. All right, Danny, let the people know where to find us.
Find us Twitter, Instagram, speak on _pod. For those of Audio Adventure, or right now, remember, send us an email, speakonitpod14@gmail.com. Speakonitpod14@gmail.com. We'll answer your questions. Speak on it _pod. Twitter, Instagram. Find me on the Bird app at DannyOcean41.
Hey, make sure you guys follow me on Instagram, Twitter, IG. YouTube, Twitch at Los Demix. That's LOSDEEMIX. Make sure you guys follow the pod. Make sure you send us your questions at speakonitpod14 at gmail. I can't wait next week to hear about everyone's fantasy stories. Listen, if you're going into week 14 and this is your last week to try to make the playoffs and you make the playoffs, let us know. If you don't make the playoffs, let us know. Tweet us, let us know your results,
Yes.
how it works out. I'm gonna be sure to let y'all know what it's like. But I'm in five fantasy football leagues. I'm in the playoffs for three, trying to get a first round bye in three. I already have a first round bye in two. I'm going for the third one, and I'm trying to be a wild card team in these last two. So I'm gonna let y'all know the updates on that. Danny, I think you're in what, three leagues? Two of them you don't. I mean, one of them you don't really care about. Two of them you're pretty serious in.
I'm in 4 leagues.
Mm.
The two ESPN leagues. I am the 1 seed, and I am dominating Dynasty. Looking to next year, the Yahoo. I ain't checked it.
He ain't even checking it. We'll see. All right, people, holla at us. And I'm gonna get us out of here. This is Metro Spider. Shout out to Metro Boomin. That album go crazy. This is Metro Spider, Young Thug, Metro Boomin.
Thanks everyone for stopping by. Peace.